Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And coming up today, we're going to tell you all about Wade Barrett signing a WWE contract. And on top of that, we're going to tell you why WWE is now paying wrestlers less on new contracts.
Plus, Will Hobbs is All Elite, and AEW have announced a special show for Tuesday next week. This is the news.
We're going to kick things off with a couple of new signings. The first one comes from WWE, and it is indeed Wade Barrett. He is going to be a full-time commentator now for NXT. This was announced yesterday. Sports Illustrated had the exclusive. It is a one-year contract with an option for extension after that. We've got a quote here from Wade Barrett who says, "I hope this lasts for a long time. That is our intent. So there is no bad news to share, but never forget, there is always a little bad news up my sleeve." It'll no doubt be not too long before he's getting that gavel out and smacking the table. Maybe the whole NXT announce booth will go up when he's doing it. That'll be fun. So Barrett's 40 years old now. He returned to NXT a few weeks ago. Following the departure of Mauro Ranallo, he has stepped in. So the announce team is now him, Beth Phoenix and Vic Joseph. It's a good team. Barrett has cut his teeth previously as announcer after leaving WWE in 2016. He was with Defiant / WCPW. He was in the NWA, took over from Jim Cornette on Power. I think we've said this several times, but given, how good he is at the job and how familiar everyone is with him and how much of a bloody nice bloke he is and how he's basically, his ties to NXT run deeper than almost anyone. He won the first season and all that. So there's not a better choice, really, is there?
No, exactly. Sensational appointment. I've been singing his praises for many a year now. Ever since we had him in Defiant WCPW, like I say, couldn't have been nicer, but also really, really impressive, I thought, both as a sort of general manager figure and whenever he stepped on to do commentary. Love what he did on Power, and I think he's been a more than adequate replacement for Mauro Ranallo. I really like the way that commentary team works now with Vic Joseph and Beth Phoenix alongside him, of course. And yeah, just for once, credit where it's due for WWE. They saw an issue, they dealt with it very cleverly, and I mean, there's going to be people, including myself, who's going to always wonder, is he going to get more involved than just being a commentator? I'm not saying necessarily he's going to wrestle, but some sort of manager figure. We were just talking before we started recording about how great MVP has been since he's returned, especially when cutting promos. But like I said, I think it's a brilliant appointment. So happy for him. And you say Sports Illustrated had the exclusive. I actually had the exclusive. He told me, but told me to keep it quiet because we're best friends. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that, Andy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But from NXT, let's move over to AEW, a new member of their roster, or not really, because he's already been involved in stuff, but he's been confirmed as a proper official signing now. Will Hobbs is All Elite. AEW tweeted that news last night off the back of that sensational performance from him in All Out's Casino Battle Royal. He stood toe-to-toe with a lot of big men in there, and I really liked what he did, and he caught a lot of people's eyes. He's actually 2-0 in AEW. A couple of big squashes for him on Dark following that Casino Battle Royal, and he made his first appearance on Dynamite last night. You might have seen it. It's where Jon Moxley cut a blistering promo. Basically, what happened was Lance Archer teamed up with Taz's stable of Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. What a team that is, by the way. And Jon Moxley decided, who shall I have in my team? Well, the guy who came to save him when he got jumped when he was coming down to the ring, that being Will Hobbs. He put him over huge. And Darby Allin. What a match that is next week, and a great signing for AEW as well, Andy.
Great segment, great signing, great performances lately from Will Hobbs. I think the most heartening thing about this is that Will Hobbs has earned this. They brought him in as an enhancement talent, and I think he was, he was doing the losing role on Dark. He was doing the 3-minute quick defeat thing, but he was showing off some really impressive power moves and big boy offense. In a similar way to Wardlow, he's got a really impressive power-based moveset, and obviously a great look and a bit of charisma and everything as well. So he has gone on to the show, the web series, the B Show, that something like 200,000 people watch every week or whatever. Maybe I'm underselling that. Please correct me if I am. And they've took notice, and he's worked hard. He's earned the opportunity. He earned the spot. in the Casino Battle Royale, and last night he was placed in a big segment. He's in a short-term role perhaps, but it's still a program with Jon Moxley and Lance Archer and all these other great dudes. It's great stuff. It's a sign that the process works, and I'm very happy for him. He's been so much fun to watch since he came in, and I'm looking forward to seeing more.
And I've got some exciting news about enhancement talent to come, but first, Andy.
Very nicely done. We're going to go over to WWE back again. We got a new report here from Fightful Select regarding new contracts in various different contexts here. So basically, the crux of this report is that in terms of salaries and compensation, WWE is currently offering, and I quote, way, way below what they would have been a year ago. This would kind of be in line with the recent Rey Mysterio saga, where Rey reportedly asked for a raise. Vince McMahon said, no, pal. And Rey ended up working as a free agent for several months before eventually re-signing. On top of this, WWE hasn't offered new contracts to several wrestlers who have moved from NXT to Raw or SmackDown lately. They have said they will be discussing it within a few weeks, but that hasn't come around yet. The reasons they have given for this is that the ongoing global health crisis and all the shows being centralized in Orlando means that the traveling schedule is a lot less chaotic than it was, and they've kind of used that to try and justify paying wrestlers less and so forth. They've also cited the company-wide cutbacks, with dozens of independent contractors let go as part of that. We have talked about that ad nauseum. Now, you know, the caveat you put on all of this, the little cherry that you have to put on top of this little cake, is the reminder that WWE is currently scheduled to make record-breaking profits in 2020. So none of their reasons here hold any water whatsoever. There's also, should be pointed out, that as a percentage of revenue, WWE currently dedicates around about 8% to talent salaries. That means nothing on its own. Compare with the UFC. The UFC pay out around 20%, and the UFC is widely considered grossly underpaid itself. Other professional sports leagues like the NBA and NFL, they pay up to 50%. So there's a clear gap. Wrestling is a severely underpaid industry. I think those numbers prove that that's beyond a shadow of a doubt. The people aren't making a fairer proportion of what they're bringing in or what they're generating for the company. Now, when you talk about WWE in these terms, someone will always go, but what about AEW? Well, the simple answer to that is that AEW haven't released any financial reports yet, so we cannot look. We don't know what their revenue is, and we don't know what the percentage is paid out as salaries and so forth. But either way, this sucks, and I feel sorry for the people involved.
Yeah, I think the whole whataboutism doesn't change the fact that this is a bad thing. If AEW did it, we'd be burying them. We just don't know whether they do or don't right now. But in terms of WWE, this is not surprising, but it is still disappointing. Like you say, with the releases and stuff, you wouldn't exactly expect them to be saying, oh, pay rises for everyone who's left, sort of, you know.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But what annoys me the most about all this is, A, the stuff about, well, you've moved from NXT to the main roster, which is always considered, in WWE's eyes at least, to be a step up. But because we're not going anywhere, you can still get paid the same amount. And I don't believe in the whole fobbing off of, we'll talk about it in a few weeks. Will you? Or are you just hoping that they don't mention it again? And also, you can't turn around and say, we're going to offer you less money, or not less money, but, you know, not offer you an improved contract or whatever for anyone, for whoever it is, and also say, oh, and also those side projects that you're making a bit of money from, you can't do those anymore. It's either or. Either pay people more money so you can say, right, well, you can't do any Twitch stuff or partnership stuff or whatever, but don't worry, we'll accommodate for that. Or you say, right, we can only afford to pay you this much because, bloody hell, look how little money we've got. Stop swimming around in that. And then say, oh, you have to allow them to do these other deals. Look,
Yeah, it sucks.
like you say, it's not like they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Bollocks. Right, let's move on and talk a little bit about AEW once more before we get to your Twitter questions. They've announced a big show for Tuesday next week. Don't worry, next week's Dynamite still goes ahead as normal, but they're going to be doing a 1-hour show on Tuesday. In case you're wondering where on earth this has come from, this was basically the show that was going to go out last night had the NBA gone the way it has with the Swishers and the Nuggets and the Lakers and the Bucks and the Clippers. That's a team as well. Basically, yeah, if NBA was going to be on Wednesday night and they were going to move Dynamite to Thursday night this week, then they would have put this show on then. But because It hasn't happened like that. They've said, well, we've got a show with some great matches on. Let's just put it on Tuesday night. Matt Sydal is going to return to the ring after that awful botch in the Casino Battle Royal. Really glad to see him back between the ropes and just hopefully allowing him to move on because I think he's such a talented wrestler. He is going to be facing Sean Spears in the headline match of that night. We've also got potentially a blow-off to the whole Brandy Rhodes Anna Jay feud. They're going to be going one-on-one. And I mentioned it earlier on, enhancement talent. The standout from Dark that I'm hearing everyone talk about, Ben Carter. He's got a match. This is mouth-watering, Andy. With Scorpio Sky.
Yeah, another opportunity for a guy who stood out on Dark. You genuinely love to see it.
Exactly. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. At WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Jana Kemmer. Sorry. Anyway, they say there was all this talk about an angle including the Nexus around WrestleMania 36. Do you think that Retribution was originally going to become the newest members of Nexus to revive that stable?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of put it together. There are certainly a lot of similarities with the we've been mistreated and held down by the machine and all that narrative surrounding both. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really thought of that before, but now that you've connected those dots for my big stupid head, I think you're onto something.
It makes a lot of sense, that. Second question today comes from Mike on the mic, who says, with the original storyline of the Elite versus Inner Circle inside Blood and Guts not happening, who would you choose 5-on-5 to participate inside an AEW Blood and Guts match, Andy?
Oh my goodness. Well, after last night's main event, I think you kind of have to have best friends.
Yeah.
And Santana and Ortiz on opposite sides.
And Sue?
Yeah, why not? Put Sue in there. On the babyface side, you could round that up by putting Jon Moxley because he's mental, and Darby Allin because he's mental. So there's your babyface side. Sue, of course, is going to get the pin. Yeah. We are not putting Matt Hardy in this. 100% no. Sammy Guevara's a bit nuts. We could throw him in. Who else you got?
Brian Cage. He loves doing Lance.
Everybody dies.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Take your pick, really.
Yeah.
They're all doing bonkers stuff right now, and Young Buck's just opening the show last night by super kicking a referee. Welcome to Dynamite, everyone. Put Big Tony in there. Actually, speaking of Big Tony, final question today comes from Wrestling with Doom. Let us know who you'd like to see in that
Big bicep Tony, bigger than my puny effort.
Let us know who you'd like to see in that Blood and Guts match in the comments section. Wrestling with Doom, anyway, says, "G'day, fellas." Oh, Australian accent optional. I'm going to read the whole question now.
Yeah, you have an option. Come on.
Yeah, and the option, I will always take it if the option is there to do a funny accent. G'day, fellas. Do you think AEW is starting to use this bloody Tony two-matching storyline and getting a bit too close to an authority figure?
I don't think so. He's barely there. We've seen him on TV, twice, 3 times in a year and stuff, and no, I have no problem with the way they've used him so far. They had that stupid segment, that Russo-esque thing early on Dynamite where Moxley went into his office, which I wasn't a fan of. But I don't think he's been invasive at all. I think, it's just, they use him similar to the way the NWA would use the old championship committee back in the day or whatever. So it's not just like Tony Khan's occupying 15 minutes of TV time every week. He's not even as invasive as Adam Pearce is on WWE TV. So I don't have a problem with the way they've used him.
And I did like that opening where Young Bucks came down, super kicked a referee, which kind of didn't make any sense because they weren't even in a match, but still, they came down, did that, walked backstage and chucked some money at Tony Khan. Speaking of which, taking money away from AEW rather than giving it to Tony, my lawyers will be in touch with Miro for, is this going to be the best stag do ever from last night's show? Don't think I missed that. And let's move on to today's and finally. And Andy, do you remember yesterday when I said I wanted to know what people do whilst watching us on the news or watching anything that we produce here at WhatCulture?
I know where you're going with this.
Yes. So we had loads of great replies. Thank you to everyone who shared what they were doing, whether it be they just wake up, have their morning coffee and watch our mugs on the screen, or whether they listen to us at work, or I remember that one time someone just had us on in the car. I was like, well, don't watch it, but thanks, I suppose. But anyway, the winner, far and away, you pointed this out, Andy, this morning, goes to Emily Bracey, who says, what do I do while watching at WhatCulture WWE? I just opened the picture again and it's thrown me. I paint 3-meter long eyeballs. I mean, obviously that wins Emily, but I can't be the only one who thinks there, Andy. Going to need a little bit more information with this one.
I kind of like it standing on its own, to be honest.
Okay.
From now on, professional 3-meter eyeball painter is a recognised profession. I have all the respect in the world for it.
I like these challenges we're setting people, though. I've got a good one for tomorrow. Where is the weirdest place you've watched us? Huh?
There we go.
Let
There
us
we
know,
go.
either in the comment section or on Twitter, and we'll read the best one out, or just the weirdest one. Congratulations once again, Emily Bracey, for that one. We'll read the weirdest one out tomorrow. Let us know your thoughts on that and everything we just talked about on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy
at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Happy Birthday, the Goon.
Hey!
It's also Jim Cornette's birthday today, but
It's also my wife's birthday today. So
happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Anne Louise. This is your present. So. Sorry about that, but too late. You're married now. You can follow me at Anna Wilborn. You can follow my wife at Reynard Anna. Go and pester her. Go and send her happy birthdays on Twitter. Oh, she's going to love me for that. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dadley Boys reviewing both NXT and AEW a little bit later on today, of course. And that's it. Nope, that's it. I don't know why I said and, but anyway, this has been the news. Right, thanks, Andy Murray. I'm going to go and apologise to my wife now, and we will see you soon.